Good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you are. This is the Bobbi Jo and Sheena show. And Sheena, what are we going to talk about today, girlfriend?
Well, it just came as an easy way to explain things, and I love it when I get light bulb moments. You've only been studying this stuff, isn't it, for God knows how many years, and then all of a sudden you go, "Oh, I get it now." So, like, we think in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass, and so what we see is that the world is the past. The world is evidence of yesterday's thinking.
Mhm.
So the imagination, as Einstein said, is more powerful than knowledge. And knowledge is the past. Remember that. Knowledge is yesterday's.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's not knowledge. As soon as you know it, it becomes the past. And imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Yet, why do we put so much emphasis on having knowledge? And how I have to put my hand up, being the, very intellectual. As oh, look at me, I've got a brain, I know all this stuff here, and look at all my qualifications. And it means diddly squit. It's just studying the past. And if you want something new to happen, you have to go to your imagination. And I love it, Bobbi Jo. And I love little Bible verses that keep popping up into my mind. And one of them was arise,
Mm.
arise in consciousness. I make all things new. That's your imagination. You can make up anything. But I mean, I don't know about you, but what do we tend to do with our imagination? We tend to regurgitate yesterday
Yes.
or worry about tomorrow that hasn't happened yet. But if we're worrying about tomorrow that hasn't happened yet, it means we're actually really regurgitating yesterday. I don't know what
Mhm.
your thoughts are on that.
Wouldn't Bob say poverty of imagination? And it is. We don't use that superpower of our own, that imagination. Create your day instead of reacting to yesterday's thoughts. Uh, yeah.
It is. It's so powerful, isn't it? I mean, sometimes it's just actually there's nothing really much to say. It's just so when one of the first conversations I heard Bob say was we live on three planes. We live on the spiritual, intellectual. I can nearly say the word. Excuse me, and physical. Now, even the word physical is actually all physics, which physics is actually realized the study of energy. But so everything is all energy in here. But if we don't have it in the spiritual world, then we can't be thinking about it, and then it won't manifest. What we tend to do is we look at the physical world, use our intellect, and we bounce up and down between those two. And so we look at the world and we go, where can I get it? Where is it? Where is it? So seek and you will find. And we're all seeking outside ourselves, like, where's it here? Where's it here? Where's it here? But then if we realize, well, no, we live on three planes. So the spiritual part up here is that use that as your imagination. Everything was created twice. The mobile phone was created twice. It was created in somebody's head. Gosh, do you remember the big chunky phones? That's hilarious. It
Mhm.
was first made in somebody's head, and then it became, you know, in the physical world. And so if we remember that order, number one, imagination. Number two, you can play with it. You can do whatever you want in your imagination. You can make up anything.
Mhm.
And then it will be done unto you. So I hate to tell you guys, but anything that's going, this is from my own experience, anything that's going on in your own head, that's going to be manifested. And
Yeah.
then you go, don't you? So you sometimes go, see, I knew that would happen. Uh
Yeah.
huh.
Well, Well, that's the belief, and it's all the same stuff that we talk about that's regurgitated. But basically, you're here and you're watching us. It's something in your life isn't authentically lining up with yourself. And it's about using your imagination. It's the same tools over and over, it's the same practices. It's easy. It's fundamental ABCs. I liked what you had sent me too about the ABC earlier about Sheena, whatever. Yeah,
I'll
having a little
remind you about that. What she's talking about, the ABC, is that Bobbi Jo lives in Alabama. I live in Cheshire. So that's A and C. And we're teaching you, or we're talking about how to be through our truth. So that was the ABC. But anyway, carry on, Bobbi Jo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and it's all the same. It's all the same stuff and regurgitated, but it's about the discipline. Don't we keep searching outside of ourselves. They keep listening to like the millionth podcast or this or book or that, and it's you keep searching, but it's all within us, and it's all about going through the layers to just find your light. There's nothing else. It's so easy, but it's the mind mess up here. I wanted to use a bad word, but it's the mind up here. It's got us going. we're off, we're searching, we're beating ourselves up, we're judging, you know, this world would be a lot different place if we weren't judging ourselves and judging others. There's enough air, there's enough love, there's enough money, regardless of what your belief is. This is my belief, my story, but there is enough of everything. And when people can drop into that and know, it's like we're not gasping for my next air or be greedy about it. So why do we do that with everything else in our lives? We should want the best for everyone else. And in that energy, when they rise, we rise. So use your imagination. You know, it's a weakness of the will. That's what Bob says. It's a weakness of the will, and it's the poverty of imagination. That you've got to learn how to dream. That's not how we're taught. And before we started this show, Sheena and I were talking a lot about guilt and what was the other one? Harassment. Yeah, that those are low
humiliation.
humiliation. Those are low vibrational things. Like, why do we want to put people there? And we were saying, isn't it interesting how we guilt the kids into doing stuff of what we want? Like those are low vibrations, you know? Why isn't that we can't switch our mindset and teach kids how to do things and make them rise, you know? The world would be a better place. No one's going to get anything over you. So use your imagination, really knowing what you want. Sheena takes it a lot deeper than I do, and I take it to the basics. Whatever it is you want, it is yours by divine right. And you're like, well, how do I get that? We'll get in that vibration of it. It's really that easy, but it's hard. It's taken us a long time to really figure it out because there's so many layers of guilt. So I had a revelation this past week that I've always felt guilty. I have guilt. I had this badass RAF guy traveling the world. And whenever I met people and they're like, that's the coolest job. And I'd be like, yeah, sorry that you have like 5 kids and living at home, or you're in the military dying. And so I can have my freedom. I've always felt guilt about living a carefree lifestyle. But that's what we're all, because I don't live the Brady Bunch structure. I always do this little square, and the Brady Bunch, if you don't know, the show in the 70s. And it's like, you all get married, we go off to college, we find the house, we have the kids, we get the job. But that isn't it. That's that is not the cultural paradigm I've ever lived in. And I've had this layer of guilt. And to this day, speaking and doing things, I feel this guilt about it. And I laugh and I go, you know what? The beautiful model does not say, sorry, I'm making millions for my beauty and my thinness. They own it. No movie star says, sorry, I'm making millions because I can act and I'm gorgeous, boy or woman or man. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's like, I just realized, but I just have this layer of guilt underneath. I just never owned it. Like, yeah, rock it, that there's a layer of guilt. And so that's what I'm saying to you is, really know yourself. But how do you do that? It's by studying you. It's by listening to this kind of stuff, food for thought kind of thing throughout the day, and think, do I carry guilt? Do I carry a consciousness vibe of a lower vibration? Where am I at? And it is just the I am presence, that we are all the same. And that is it's taken me years to come around to this. But that it comes down to love, and it comes down to we are one. And how do we treat each other? And in that's when we rise. And that's when we become better people, because we know that there's enough going around. But if you're doing it like, I got to do this, and there's this the underlying current isn't matching up with your actions. It's the laws of cause and effect, people. The laws of gravity. We don't guess the pen's going to fall into my hand when I drop it like this. And the same of that. We got to watch those undercurrents that are really deep. It's like the ocean. And there's like that, the currents are so deep the further down you go. And you just be whisked off before you know it. When I want to go that way, but I'm being zoomed that way. So you just have to know. That's all I really have today. Whew.
You didn't. And that's the thing that I hadn't realized, that I could have a positive mindset, but then literally come from a vibration of lack. And even so, it didn't matter how hard I was working, that there was always something that was in the way. And so one of the things I think with your imagination is that we think, oh well, that's just my imagination. But you're whenever you ask, what do I want? And what you truly want, what's in your heart, it is unique to you. But then if you go and you speak to somebody else about it and they laugh and they go, don't be silly, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, why not? It wasn't given to them. They cannot see what you see. They were not given that gift. This is your gift. What is it? Tell me, actually, start commenting down here. Tell me what your gift is. Tell me what it is that you saw, that you were given, an image of how your life could be. But then you went, oh no, sorry, I can't have that. Would you do that to somebody who gave you a gift for your birthday? It's like your birthday every day. Every day is your birthday. And you're giving gifts every day, but then we go, no, I couldn't possibly do that. I shouldn't do that. No. That's actually refusing. That's actually you thinking that, well, that's actually a whole other topic, but maybe we'll do that. We'll actually do that tomorrow, because really that is another topic about refusing the gift and what that makes you, and etc., etc. So I think Bobbi Jo's right. I think we've done justice to what we wanted to do today. Your imagination first.
Yeah.
Imagination first, and then it will happen in the physical. So be careful. This is like a projector. Your frontal lobe here. It is literally the screen of the mind. And whatever you're mulling around in here, that's what you're going to get the answer to. So be careful what you mull around in here.
Yeah, let's go deeper into this. You know, there was a speaker yesterday at my spiritual center who made up her own course of psychology stuff, you know, and it's all the same stuff regurgitated. But we did talk about that. You know, her children, her daughter went to go to school for mathematics, but you know what she's doing? She's a comedian in New York City. And that's it, because her mother has allowed them to find their gifts inside and not live the Brady Bunch structure. So who was it, as you as a child, what did you dream of doing? Because I can probably pretty much tell you're not in alignment as an adult, because we've talked about it, the paradigms, the cultural and social paradigms that have blocked us from the day we were born. You're girl, you're boy, you're white, you're black, you're Jewish, you're Catholic. And there we went, right from the day we were born. And so here you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you don't even know who you are anymore, because you've lived the cultural paradigm. Got to go to work. You got to do this. You got to. Do we? What's your dream? We'll talk about it tomorrow.
There you go. What's your dream? That's a good one. Let's tune in tomorrow for that. So it's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye
all the way from UK.
And bye from Alabama.